What's going on, guys? Xavier back again. Now, it's been a long haul since the announcement of the closure of Telltale video games, and a lot of us were actually deeply saddened by the sudden and abrupt closure of such a highly respected game within the community and such a very close-knit, company within the community that a lot of us felt close to our hearts in this crazy world we have. Now, in this video, I'm going to mainly talk about what could be the potential of future Telltale video games being taken over by SKYBOUND, as well as discussing why Telltale was closed in the beginning half. So, to start off with, as a lot of you have seen that episode 3 had just been revealed, and episode 3 went very well, I'm not gonna lie, but it's now the one thing we've all been dreading to hear so far, that we have to acknowledge that the next episode will in fact be the last one. And I think when it all comes down to it, we all need to just take a second and realize that Telltale has actually offered us a great deal of video games over the course of, for me, I started getting into Telltale games around like 2011 when they were just like really starting to get into the community. And at first, I didn't really think too much of it, but it was later that I got into The Walking Dead, and then I kind of avoided their Minecraft games, really. But then I started playing, the Game of Thrones, Guardians of the Galaxy, Batman and stuff like that. But what we really do need to talk about is why Telltale had closed. Now, a lot of people have been saying the same thing that I was saying, that, what about the fact that, they have plenty of money, why did they just close? And according to some bank reports, Telltale actually filed bankruptcy back in November, and this actually led to certain delays of upcoming titles such as, The Walking Dead's final season, episode 2 through 4. And originally, they actually revealed this at the last minute, like a week before The Walking Dead's final season premiered, that it was not going to have 5 episodes, and in fact, it was going to be shortened to 4. So with that being said, they eventually filed for bankruptcy, and there were immediate layoffs within the company, and then that the majority of the studio had actually closed, with around 90% of its workforce going. Like, out of all 500 something work employees that were not 500, I'm sorry, out of all 250 or more co-workers that worked for Telltale, literally on September 21st of last year, it was the CEO that announced that they were undergoing a major studio closure. And it was crazy because Telltale only had about 250 or more people working for them, and the fact that 225 out of those people were instantly laid off, including the core members that were to fulfill the company's obligations in terms of their games that they were developing at the time, including their partnership with the recently announced with Netflix, and they even were talked about that they were going to be bought out by Lionsgate in order to keep their funding. So they had really a lot of projects going on at the time. But the fact that they had to file for bankruptcy really was considered by the fact that it was a lot of issues going on, and they have honestly not even up to now have really made an official announcement to why, but bankruptcy was the main reason, And so it was really kind of sickening because they haven't even they didn't really given a full-on reason why the studio was closing up until October of that year. And I think it was the narrative designer Rachel Noel or Noel, something like that, and she went in an interview stating that her team within the skeleton crew was also laid off and that there were not that many people left in the company. So then, they finally filed bankruptcy on November 14th of last year, and working through Sherwood Partners in order to liquidate their remaining, assets in order to, keep the money that they had going. And they started to remove all Telltale products from, marketplaces, such as, if you notice that they're starting to take them down off of the PlayStation Network and as well as the Xbox Live. So with that being said, it was really a difficult conversation to be had of really what was going to happen to them at that point and in that time. So with that, it's now up in the air what's going to happen with Telltale's recently announced games. Now, me personally, I believe SKYBOUND is going to have something to do with that. I feel like SKYBOUND is going to take the initiative, even though I really think that at one part of my mind was like, this is The Walking Dead. They're probably just going to do The Walking Dead, and then that's probably where they're just going to let that shit go. But in this particular case, they still have at least 3 game titles that SKYBOUND could get involved with, but at the same time, it's a shaky thing. Anything can happen. The CEOs could easily have a conversation and be like, look, The Wolf Among Us season 2 and Game of Thrones season 2, as well as their untitled Stranger Things game, could easily be like, okay, you guys have a lot of our staff that worked with us that you brought on to finish the project. So it could be a point of where if SKYBOUND were to, team up with them, and if not, just go ahead and, buy them out, and as well as rehire most of the people that work for Telltale, it'd be a lot easier, because I feel like at that point that it wouldn't have been nothing but a subsequent easy conversation, for real, So with that being said, I feel like there was a time, there's a time that at this point I feel like SKYBOUND, why do I keep saying SKYBOUND? But I feel like SKYBOUND should take the initiative and acknowledge that there's a lot of money that they could earn from developing Telltale games. And since they already had people that work for Telltale underneath them, it would be a lot easier. I feel like it would be. So, what do you guys think? I feel like most people would think I'm being biased or anything like that. But I wanted to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below what you think.